Welcome to U.S. Immigration TV. Well, I have some great news for people who are in deportation proceedings or removal proceedings, or may have already been ordered deported. So if this applies to you or to somebody you know, such as a family member, friend, or coworker, or anyone else you can think of who may benefit, watch this video until the end, as I will provide tips and information on how you could possibly get your case reopened or even dismissed. And of course, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to this channel because I'm constantly posting videos on the latest immigration news, information, and developments. So the breaking news I have now is that the Department of Homeland Security recently issued standard operating procedures, or what's called SOP, on how to go about requesting prosecutorial discretion for those who are in deportation or removal proceedings. Now, I previously posted a video on where the government had been going about dismissing cases on their own. Now, these instructions show how people can affirmatively ask the government in connection with their own case to exercise prosecutorial discretion. Well, first of all, what is prosecutorial discretion? According to the SOP, prosecutorial discretion is, and I quote, the long-standing authority of an agency charged with enforcing the law to decide where to focus its resources and whether or how to enforce or not to enforce the law against an individual. Simply put, do we prosecute or do we not prosecute? In this case, the Office of Principal Legal Advisor, or OPLA, which are the government attorneys charged with pursuing deportation or removal proceedings, can use their discretion on whether to pursue deportation proceedings against certain people or even to drop or dismiss existing cases. Now, what can be included in connection with prosecutorial discretion? Well, prosecutorial discretion can include such things as agreeing to continuances or postponements, joining in a non-citizen's motion to the immigration court, or even agreeing to dismiss a pending deportation case. Now, the SOP lists a number of factors that the OPLA attorneys may consider in deciding whether to exercise prosecutorial discretion. Now, I'm going to go through some of these listed items and see how many of them may apply to you and your situation. So take note. Okay, one of the factors is length of residence in the U.S. Certainly, the longer you are here, the more equities you have. U.S. military service, either by the non-citizen or their family members. Family or community ties in the U.S. Circumstances of the person's arrival in the U.S. and the manner of his or her entry. For example, did they enter as a visitor and overstay? Did they enter the U.S. by the use of fraudulent documents or bogus visas? Did they cross the border without inspection? Another factor is prior immigration history. And this will be important that if somebody is going to seek prosecutorial discretion, their entire immigration file and records should be requested from the government. Kind of like if you're going to perform an operation, you want to get the medical history. Another factor is work and education history in the U.S. The person's status as a victim, witness, or a plaintiff in a civil or criminal proceeding. There are also what is called compelling humanitarian factors, and these include serious medical condition, age, pregnancy, status as a child, and status as a primary caregiver of a seriously ill relative in the U.S. There could also possibly be hope for those who have been charged or convicted of a crime, of course, depending on the circumstances. And this could even include green card holders who, after they obtain their green card, were convicted of a crime and now they face deportation. And that's an important point. Prosecutorial discretion does not only apply to people who are out of status or had their applications denied. Many green card holders are put in deportation, either because of crimes they committed, maybe they obtained a green card through fraud and then they were caught when they applied for U.S. citizenship. So prosecutorial discretion could apply to green card holders as well. Now, some of the factors the OPLA attorneys will consider in connection with a person with criminal convictions seeking prosecutorial discretion would include the extensiveness, seriousness, and recency of the criminal activity. I mean, how long ago did you commit that crime? Evidence of rehabilitation. Have you reformed? Have you felt remorse and have not repeated the crime? The time and length of the sentence imposed, if any. And I let you know that any sentence over 1 year is really not a good thing. 364 days, maybe over 365, it could be issues. The length of time since the offense or conviction occurred, I mean, was it a long time ago, 20, 25 years ago? Whether they have committed additional crimes that might demonstrate that they pose a threat to public safety. Now, according to the SOP, this is not a complete or exhaustive list of the various factors. And I think it is very important to be honest and upfront with the OPLA attorneys about any potentially negative factors. In other words, if you have past crimes, it's important that they be disclosed and explained. If you try to hide or conceal the negative factors and the OPLA attorneys find out, it's going to be likely that they would be unwilling to further consider your request because you have not demonstrated that you've been open and honest with them. Also, if you think about it, part of the process would be you would have to have a fingerprint check and all your past criminal history will show up. The SOP further details how to go about submitting a request for prosecutorial discretion, where and how to send it. However, I really have to emphasize that this is not something that you should try to do on your own. Really, you should definitely first consult with an attorney who can evaluate your case and the circumstances and determine whether you really do have a good case for seeking prosecutorial discretion. The attorney can also help gather appropriate evidence and documents and package the case for submission to the OPLA attorneys. For example, maybe many years ago you were in deportation or removal proceedings, and at that time you didn't have a way to get a green card. There was no relief available. But perhaps now you married a U.S. citizen, or you have a child born in the U.S. who has just now reached the age of 21 and can petition you. And even if you don't have a form of relief available now, but you are not considered one of the enforcement priorities, such as felons or terrorists, things like that, the government could possibly be willing to even dismiss your case and just kind of like leave you alone for now. The reason for this is really there's hundreds of thousands of cases in the immigration court, and the government under Biden wants to focus on the really bad people, the enforcement priority cases, and he does not want to clog the courtroom with low priority cases. And therefore they could be willing, in order to free up the courtrooms, to dismiss or drop your case at this time. Now, I think this is really great news, and anybody who thinks that they may be potentially eligible should consult with an attorney to determine their eligibility. Again, I want to emphasize, I am not guaranteeing that everybody who applies will be granted prosecutorial discretion or have their case dismissed. But it goes on a case-by-case basis, depending on how the evidence is there, how the factors are met, and how the case is packaged and presented and argued to the OPLA attorneys. And that's where an attorney can come in handy to do that for you. Now, we've seen that the Biden administration has a completely different attitude than the Trump administration, where during Trump, the government practically refused to exercise any kind of discretion and basically wanted to deport everybody. However, for those of you who are in deportation or removal proceedings, I really hope you found this video helpful and hopeful. I will continue posting videos of the latest immigration developments, whether they are positive, such as this one, or even negative ones, so that you are kept up to date and informed. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. I'm Michael Gurfinkel, and this is U.S. Immigration TV.